What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. We are going back to Ecc Tuned right now. Obviously, if you've been on the channel or been watching the channel, our last visit to ECC, we did the stage 1 MPPK dyno day, and we were bone stock with just an intercooler. So this time we're going to return to Ecc Tuned, and we have some more goodies on the car. We have a catless downpipe with the muffler delete. We have the aftermarket charge pipe with the blow-off valve. We have the in-house performance turbo inlet with a shorty intake that I custom made. And then we're gonna go ahead and run the stage 2 tune. Well, first we're gonna do a stage 1 to see what kind of horsepower improvements we made just from going from stage 1 stock to stage 1 full bolt-on with methanol now. So if you watched my last video, we did the methanol tutorial. So we're gonna go ahead and re-dyno stage 1, and then we're gonna dyno stage 2, and then I'm gonna try to dyno stage 2 plus and see if the high pressure fuel pump will be able to keep up with the demand. You're supposed to have an aftermarket high pressure fuel pump, but I haven't put one on yet. Dorsch sent me their DS15 and DS25, but I haven't put those on yet because I wanted to just do this in stages. So we're gonna see if it holds on. We're on 93 obviously, so it shouldn't affect it too badly, but in talking to Carrie, some people's high pressure fuel pumps can handle it and some people's crashes out. So we'll see if ours can handle it and get you guys some dyno results. So excited to keep going down this journey. After this, we're gonna go ahead and put on the Pure 500. I have a inlet currently that is going through the prototype phase with a T51R mod that'll go on a hybrid turbo. So we're working on that right now. Hopefully I'll have that ready before we put the Pure 500 on, and then that way we can really get you guys some cool noises, some turbo noises that everybody likes. So let's get into Ecc Tuned and get this dyno day going. So we're at Ecc Tuned now, back here again. Very nice setup. Got their dyno here. We're about to bring the car in and get it strapped down and get it going. They got some pretty sick cars in here, so definitely if you're in the Round Rock area, bring it on down. They'll take care of you. All right, so we got the car back on the dyno, and this is going to be stage 1, full bolt-on, no meth, just to compare it to the last one with the upgrade. So we'll see what it does here with that. 370. So we went up 30 just on bolt-on. That's pretty good. 30 horsepower with just bolt-ons. We went from 341 to 370. About the same. So car's doing pretty good. We picked up 30 horsepower on just the full bolt-ons from stage 1. Stage 2 we gained like another 6 horsepower, but I think it's because the car's getting a little hot, so we're gonna let it cool down for a little bit. We turned the meth on. Meth's helping out a lot. Last time we were tuning in here, IAT sat at like 100, 105. On that last pull, I recorded 77 degrees throughout the pull. So we got the meth going in nicely. Car's running really well. So I bumped it up to the stage 2 plus. Not sure if the high pressure fuel pump is gonna handle it. On the stage 2, high pressure fuel pump is fine. It's meeting target perfectly. So we're gonna let it cool down and see what it does on the stage 2 plus.
Plus 93,
Yeah.
389 and 469.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Cool.
E30 stage 2 plus. Damn.
Let's go.
That is not bad.
That's fucking good.
423 and 483.
All right, so we just got done at Ecc Tuned. Again, huge shout out to those guys and that team. They were super accommodating. They helped me get all the dyno runs that I wanted to get done and some more. We even, one of the guys and I went and got lunch and we grabbed a can of E85 to do a splash for the E30 tune on the stage 2 plus. So awesome of those guys, really appreciate all their help and support. So yeah, if you're in the Round Rock or Austin, Texas area and you have a BMW and need any kind of dyno work or any kind of work or service done, they're a great all-around shop. They work on anything German and pretty much European. So check them out, ecctune.com. So let's continue what I was talking about. I noticed that we had some loose hardware jingling in one of the door pockets. So it kind of annoyed me and I want to continue going over the data and the graph in detail in front of my computer. So I wanted to first talk about, obviously our baseline for this setup. Let me pull up the graph here for you guys and for myself. So with the MPPK tune, bone stock, no bolt-ons, the car did 301 like we saw in the last video. And then the stage 1 did 341 in the last video with a stage 1 bone stock, no bolt-ons except for a front mount intercooler. So we returned this time and we did the stage 1 with full bolt-ons. So that is the in-house performance inlet. We did a shorty intake. We did a catless downpipe that I custom made and it was off the 535 with a 3.5-inch V-band to mate to the factory exhaust with muffler delete. We did a charge pipe with a blow-off valve, which that shouldn't provide any kind of power. And then we did the meth injection system, water meth injection system. So that should help us cool IATs. And I had it turned up pretty good with the 250cc atomizing pintle. So that might give us a little bit of an edge as well. And we'll see that kind of in the data. But let's go over this first. So 370.77 wheel horsepower and 447.24 pounds of torque. So we gained 30 wheel horsepower, and I don't have the other graph in front of me, but a good amount of torque as well by just doing full bolt-ons. So that's pretty impressive to get 30 horsepower out of a catless downpipe and an intake pretty much. With the inlet, I'm sure my inlet helps out a lot because I'm the biggest ones in the industry, so the turbo doesn't have a problem breathing with that inlet. So then we ran a stage 2. Now at this point, the car had been a little bit hot, setting up the dyno, calibrating, doing all those things. So we were starting to go back to back on these runs. And with that stage 2, we did 373.64 with 453 foot-pounds of torque. So very small gain, but it still doesn't seem too bad in consideration to what the next log is. So that was stage 2. Now stage 2 plus, we took a lunch break, let the car sit down and cool. So it got pretty cool and it's in an AC environment. So I think it was like 77, 78 degrees in the dyno area and in the shop. So we came back, IET still looked really good. And when I look at the data log, IETs to start were 77 degrees. And yeah, so everything was looking really good with that run. We obviously saw some good increase in power. So from the stage 2, which was the 373, to stage 2 plus, we made 389 wheel horsepower with 469 foot-pounds of torque. So that's a pretty solid number, I think, from an OTS on a 93 tune. Now, when I go ahead and look at the log, we had, let's see, around high pressure fuel pump was spot on. I didn't have any dropouts or any issues with high pressure fuel pump. So I can see at the beginning of the log, when the meth starts to spray its heaviest, our short-term fuel trim started about, almost perfectly on 1. And then as the methanol is sprayed, we start to drop down to about 88, 86, which is still pretty healthy. And then it probably hovers right around 87 and 85, which is fine. It's pulling a little bit of fuel, but that's probably because of the methanol. Like I said, throttle angle, we had a little bit of a dip beginning of pull, but right around 5,000 RPMs, we were back to 100% accelerated pedal and 100% throttle angle. So obviously accelerator pedal is your foot, throttle angle is the throttle plate for the throttle body. So if you have an overboost condition, that throttle plate will close to limit boost that's entering the manifold. And then timing was looking pretty good. We started with the pull right around 4 or 5 degrees. Mid pull we were about 6.5, and at the end of the pull we were pretty much on 8.5, 9 degrees of timing for 93. That's pretty solid. So overall the data looks really good. Wastegate duty cycle still looks really good, so that's a really good sign. When we were targeting, boost target was 19 psi and we were hitting 20. Wastegate duty cycle was 80%. And it slowly climbed as the efficiency of the turbo starts to go away. 5,300 we were at 88, and then right around 6,000 RPMs we start to get 89, 90. But we're still making well into the 18 psi. We don't drop into the 17s until about 6,200 RPM. So for a stock turbo, that's pretty efficient actually. And then our wastegate duty cycle is about 90%, 92% through the rest of the run. But we never dip. We go all the way to 6,700 RPMs, and that turbo never dips below 17 psi. So that's the sign of a really healthy turbo. All the metrics look really good. And this was again for the 93 stage 2 plus pull. So after that, we splashed the car with some E85. We got the E content level to E30. I went and flashed the stage 2 plus with the E30 tune, and we were able to make 423.86 wheel horsepower, 483.73 foot-pounds of torque. Now, I just want to highlight, if you want to look at the right-hand side of this, all of my peak torque is almost below 3,500 RPM. One is at 35.3. But people constantly ask me, why do you have those drag pack on your car, blah, blah, blah. I'm not making a lot of power, but to have almost 500 foot-pounds of torque before 3,500 RPMs, 0 to 60s, anything from a dig will be near impossible on stock tires. It's a lot of torque really early. So, and it's only going to go up from here when we go to the Pure 500 or the Pure 600. Those numbers just go up, and those RPMs still stay very low on that torque range. So the drag pack definitely helps. So I wanted to talk about something really quick, because I will be the first to admit when I'm wrong. And I have been seen on Facebook groups and some of the forums talking about how stock turbo N55 does not normally see 400 wheel horsepower. Maybe with M2 and M235 versions, it is more capable, but for the earlier versions and for anything that didn't have that kind of variation of the N55, it wasn't a normal thing. Well, this data right here proves me wrong. We clearly hit 423 wheel horsepower on E30 with a stock turbo and Stage 2 plus E30 OTS tune. So I don't know if it was because 5 years ago was the last time, or 6 years ago was the last time I had a stock turbo N55. I think I got my 535 in 2018. So, you know, BM3 was fairly new, MHD was fairly new. I had a JB4 on my car. So back in those days, it probably wasn't as normal, and maybe that's why it's stuck in my head that 400 wheel horsepower is just not a normal thing for a stock turbo N55. But obviously this data has proven me extremely wrong. So, yep, I'll be the first one to admit it. So now with MHD and BM3 having, you know, these, at least BM3's got some aggressive OTS tunes. They're aggressive but safe, and they make some serious power. So yeah, definitely gonna admit when I'm wrong, and here I am. So, and maybe, you know what, it might be because, you know, back in the day, we didn't have, you know, the in-house performance inlet that, you know, this is a 3-inch inner diameter inlet, you know, so now the turbo can breathe much more efficiently. I was in the very early stages, probably the first revision in 2018 of the front mount intake. So, you know, technology's come a long ways. We've developed and made a bunch of new parts that allow the turbo to breathe and things to be more efficient. So maybe that has a lot to do with it as well. But yeah, so I kind of just wanted to highlight on that point and talk about that. So you guys got me, and I'm looking forward to, you know, next installing the Pure 500. So obviously this is a great new product from Pure. No longer do you need a core to send into Pure. This actually bolts on to the hot side of your factory turbo and housing, so the manifold. So you should be able to do this without removing the actual manifold and just install the cold side onto the hot side. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that in the next couple weeks, and we will start the street tuning process with Kerry Jordan at Jordan Tuned. And from there, we will work our way to getting it on the dyno and getting it dyno tuned for a 93 and an E30 tune, and possibly an E50 and E85, and then see what this turbo is capable of at its max effort with the Dorsch 1.5. I think that Dorsch Stage 1 will be plenty for this turbo. So yeah, excited to do that. Otherwise, we're on this journey. We're going to figure out these numbers and get this data out there to the public so you guys understand what is the best option for the horsepower goals that you have for your car. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments or email me at tyler.house@inhouseperformance.com, and I will respond to your guys' questions. If you have any ideas or you would like a topic for me to cover, please send them my way. I love to have as many topics as possible that I can go over for you guys. Trying to release at least a video or two a week, and so the more topics, the busier I can stay. So I really appreciate it. If you guys need Pure turbos or Dorsch engineering or variant wheels, you guys know where to find me, inhouseperformance.com. We got all the parts for you guys. And yeah, that's about it for this episode. So hopefully we'll get a couple more out next week, and then the week after that we will do the install on the Pure 500. So until then, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy now.